Good evening, I'm Atik Rumi, bringing you the news on Gold FM. In your headlines, close to 3 billion additional export revenue sought in 2026. Port City eyes Lions share investments from Middle East. Amendments to Online Safety Act at final stages, says Cabinet spokesperson. Opposition MPs inspect Norochule over substandard coal claims. In your news overseas, India signs mother of all deals with the EU. In your sports news, Sri Lanka facing a daunting target to win the series.
The top story on Gold FM.
Achieving earnings worth $20 billion from exports is the target set by the Export Development Board for the year 2026. This was said by the chairman of the board, Mangala Vijayasinghe. The expectation is a $3 billion increase compared to last year, during which Sri Lanka earned $17.25 billion. According to the EDB chairman, the National Export Strategy 2025 to 2029 will be implemented. Speaking to us, Vijayasinghe explained the targets expected to be achieved under this plan.
With that, we are expecting minimum 10% export growth. So the National Export Development Plan, our target is to reach more than 36 billion revenue by 2030. Basically, sector-wise and the region-wise, we have categorized. Mainly for our export diversification strategy, mainly focuses on the de-risking the economy by expanding both product and the market reach through the National Export Development Plan. So therefore, the product diversification and the market diversification we are expecting this year. So this year, we are expecting more than 20 billion export revenue, where more than 16 billion from the merchandising and the service sector we are expecting 4 billion.
The National Export Strategy focuses on three pillars, which are expanding Sri Lanka's trade competitiveness, expanding Sri Lanka's global and regional market linkage, and promoting sustainable trade-led economic growth. Explaining further on the strategy, this is what he had to say.
As product diversification, we are planning to beyond our traditional export. We are into that technology-driven, high-value and high-tech product like electronics and also the auto component, logistic and the food and beverage and the mineral base. Those will be one of the key priority sectors we have identified during next 5 years. When we are planning this product diversification, we need some market diversification also. We are planning to diversify our products to African, Asian and Middle East countries. With the Export Development Council of Ministers, we have proposed Sri Lanka needs some new free trade agreement and the product-based agreement also. So that is why a special committee has been appointed to review our existing FTAs and propose new FTA or PTA to get the more additional value to Sri Lanka.
Vijayasinghe also commented on the Sri Lanka Expo 2026 trade exhibition, which is expected to attract foreign buyers.
Our plan is to bring minimum 1,500 foreign buyers. That task we are being already communicated to our foreign missions. Now they are working towards relevant chambers with the relevant countries. In addition, that investors are expecting. So this trade fair will be held on 18 to 21st June 2026. That is basically BMICH. In addition to this, our Sri Lanka Expo, parallelly we have organized some investors forum. This investors forum will be one of the key investors forum we are having in Sri Lanka, because we are going to organize with the Board of Investment as well and relevant other ministries. So we have already invited the key investors. So we are planning to encourage more export-led investors.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Investments into the Colombo port city are gaining momentum. This is according to the President's Special Envoy for Investments, Hanif Yusuf. He said this during an interview with foreign media. Yusuf first gave an update on the number of investments the reclaimed land in the heart of Colombo has received.
We've got about 140 applications already approved, and we've got 200 more on the pending list for approval. And if you look at the mix of the investors, they're from all over. The Chinese, it was about 13% when I saw last. They're from people from Middle East, people from Far East, people from Europe. Getting momentum. It's not restricted to one particular country.
So where do you expect the bulk of investors to be coming
I
from?
feel bulk of the investors, in my view, the way we are going, would be from the Middle East and from Europe.
When quizzed on the reduced tax breaks under the new amendment to the Port City Economic Commission Bill, this is what Yusuf had to say.
I welcome that scaling back, because what it was a blanket approval for a certain amount of years. Does not matter how much you invest in the port city. But IMF has brought us fiscal discipline to our country, and we are one of the people that has come out of the crisis so fast from anywhere in the world. I mean, we have followed the IMF policies, and this policy of scaling back is a good thing. We want serious investors. So people who are serious investors want to see predictability and stability more than tax incentives.
When the President's Special Envoy for Investments was asked about the single most significant barrier that the Commission is trying to get rid of as far as investments in Port City are concerned, he gave perception as the simple answer.
It is a perception. That's what I'm battling on. That's why I need to get on the road and tell them about the true story of Port City and why it's not what they think it is.
How are you trying to convince the investors, right? What sort of safeguards are in place now within your country to make sure that the policy is steady, approvals, and that politics is not going to be swinging the policies itself?
No, the Port City regulations are governed by not to any line ministry. The Colombo Port City Commission is the independent regulator, and all the regulations are in place, and they're governed by international conventions. So I don't see any risk in that.
The amendments to the Online Safety Act are in the final stage, and public views on the act will also be sought. This was said by Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa while addressing the weekly Cabinet media briefing today. In other decisions, the Cabinet granted approval for a series of new laws and legislative amendments specifically designed to protect women and children. The proposal focuses on modernizing the legal framework to address contemporary threats and long-standing vulnerabilities. The upcoming reforms include new acts dedicated to combating child cybercrime, upholding child rights, and strengthening the prevention of domestic violence. Opposition members of parliament, including representatives from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, arrived at the Norochule Lakvijay power plant today to inspect its current operations. This visit followed a claim in parliament by MP D.V. Chanaka on the 7th regarding a 10 billion rupee loss allegedly caused by the importation of substandard coal. The Ministry of Energy subsequently issued a statement clarifying that while the coal stocks fell short of quality standards, a doubling of penalty fees ensured no financial loss occurred under the agreement. During the visit, MPs Chaminda Vijayasiri, Sujeeva Senasinghe, Rohana Bandara and J.C. Alavatuvala engaged in discussions with the plant staff, while Ajit P. Pereira and D.V. Chanaka provided statements to the media regarding the situation. In the interest of clarity, we refrained from dubbing their remarks.
සැපයුම් කරුවෙකුට අවස්ථාව සලසා දීම සඳහා වංචනිකව සකස් කරපු කවදක්වත් නැති විදියට කොන්දේසි ලිහිල් කරලා පළපුරුද්දක් නැති ඒ වගේම වෙනත් භාණ්ඩ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට සැපයීමේදී බ්ලැක් ලිස්ට් කරපු කම්පැනි එකකට මේ ගල්ලඟුරු සැපයීම පිළිබඳ අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම නිසා රටේ වරපරල අර්බුදයක් මතුවලා තිබෙනවා බලශක්තිය අඛණ්ඩව පවත්වාගෙන යාම පිළිබඳ අර්බුදයක් මතුවලා තිබෙනවා විශාල පාඩුවක් සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා ඒ වගේම එක පිට එක දැන් නැව් හතරක්ම මේ විදියට ප්‍රමිතියෙන් තොර ගල්ලඟුරු රටට ආපු නිසා එයින් ඇතිවෙන බලපෑම එක පැත්තකින් නීතිය කඩ කිරීම නිසා ඒ සැපයුම් කරුට ඒ පිළිබඳ වගවීමට ලක් කළ යුතුයි අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අපි රට හැටියට මෙවැනි අර්බුදකාරී අවස්ථාවක මේක හදිසි තත්ත්වයක් අර මහා කුණාටුව වගේ දැවැන්ත අර්බුදයක් අපි බලනවා ඒකයි විදුලිය බිඳ වැටීමකට අවදානමක් තියෙනවා නොරොච්චෝල බිඳ වැටීමට අවදානමක් තියෙනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් විදුලි බිල වැඩි කරලා ජනතාව මත බර පටවන්න සිදු වෙනවා ඒකේ හින්දා මේ දැනට ප්‍රමාද වැඩි දැනටම නැව් 10කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් ගේන්න ඕනේව ප්‍රමාද වෙලා තියෙනවා ඒකේ හින්දා අනිවාර්යෙන් ඩීසල් වලින් ගන්න වෙනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුව මේ අප්‍රේල් වල තියෙන ටෙන්ඩරේ අගෝස්තු වලට කල් දාලා ඒ වෙච්ච දූෂණයත් එක්ක අද රටේ ජනතාව තාමත් දැඩි පීඩනයට ලක් වෙන එක මේ වෙද්දි නවත්තන්න බැරි කාරණයක් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
A special parliamentary committee resolved to conclude investigations into the release of 323 containers without mandatory physical inspections within 3 months. Chaired by Justice Minister Harshina LANKA'S, the committee reached this decision during its inaugural session on the 21st. The probe focuses on security and revenue lapses occurring when these units bypassed standard customs protocols. Members agreed to convene every Wednesday to expedite the inquiry, with the next session scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. This investigation aims to identify those responsible for the procedural bypass and prevent future occurrences within the nation's ports. Health Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa stated that the government will not make decisions based on the threats or intimidation of any professional group. His remarks come as the Government Medical Officers Association continues its second day of trade union action across the island. The association alleges that the government failed to implement the requested agreements. To decide on the next steps, the GMOA Central Committee is scheduled to convene tomorrow. Addressing an event to award appointment letters were presented to 213 new public health management assistants. The health minister issued a warning to all professionals in the health sector. In the interest of clarity, we refrained from dubbing his remarks.
අපි නැත්තම් ලෝකෙ දුවන්නේ නැහැ කියලා හිතන්නත් එපා. අත්‍යවම ගත්ත තැන නිසි පරිදි රාජකාරී කරන්න. එතෙන්ට ගියපු දවසේ ඉඳලා කල්පනා කරන්න එපා කොහොමද මම මෙතනින් වෙන තැනකට යන්නේ කියලා. සියලුම ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර්ස් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ සිට 2013 න් පස්සේ හරියම ට්‍රාන්ස් එකක් වෙලා නැහැ. විශේෂයෙන් වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ අපි ස්ථාන මාරු කිරීම කරනවා. සිස්ටම් එකකට මේක ගේන්නට ඔබ ස්ථාවරව ශක්තිමත් ඉන්නවා නම් මතක තියාගන්න. අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන වඩා වැඩි වේගයකින් මේකට හොන් තැනකට ගේන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඔබ ගැන විශ්වාසය තියෙනවා. රාජ්‍ය හැටියට ඔබට දෙන්න පුළුවන් පහසුකම් ලබා දෙනවා. හැබැයි ඔබ මේ ලංකාවේ ඇතුලේ ඉඳගනිමින් මේ සේවය කරයි කියන බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් තමයි මේ දේවල් කරන්නේ. මීට වඩා වැඩි පරි යුරෝපයේ තියෙනවා, මීට වඩා වැඩි පරි අරහේ මේ තියෙනවා. අපි යනවා. ඒක නිසා බයට වැඩි වැඩි කළ දෙන්න ඒවට නෑ යට වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙමයි නෙමෙයි සලකන්නේ. රට ඇතුලේ ඉඳගෙන වැඩ කරන අයට.
Now for some news in brief.
One person died and 3 school children were hospitalized following a wasp attack in the Mankulam area of Mulettivu.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange gained 7.07 points to post an all-time closing high of 23,960.16 points. The S&P SL 20 also gained 9.25 points to close at 6,672.37. Market turnover was 5.2 billion rupees. A sharp contrast in operational efficiency emerged at the port of Colombo as the private sector-led Colombo West International Terminal significantly outpaces the state-managed East Container Terminal. Despite commencing operations in April 2025, the West Terminal handled over 700,000 container units by year-end, reaching 90% capacity utilization in its first phase. In comparison, the state-run East Terminal processed just over 500,000 units during the same period, with officials citing incomplete infrastructure as a primary hurdle. The Sri Lanka Ports Authority commissioned the third berth of the East Container Terminal last week to address this gap, aiming for a throughput of 1.5 million units in 2026.
International news on Gold FM.
India and the European Union struck a long-delayed deal today to slash tariffs on most goods, aiming to reduce reliance on the United States amid global trade tensions. The agreement is expected to double EU exports to India by 2032 and save European firms €4 billion by eliminating duties on 96.6% of traded goods. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the pact as the mother of all deals, which will eventually cut Indian tariffs on 99.5% of EU imports, including textiles and base metals. Sensitive agricultural items such as beef, sugar, rice and dairy have been excluded from the agreement to protect domestic farming sectors. The deal gains significance as nations seek to strengthen economic ties following President Donald Trump's imposition of 50% tariffs on certain Indian goods.
entertainment news on Gold FM.
Leonardo DiCaprio became the youngest actor to earn 7 BAFTA Best Actor nominations after being shortlisted for his role in one battle after another. At 51, he surpasses the previous age record held by Dustin Hoffman and joins an elite group of thespians that includes Daniel Day-Lewis, Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier. This latest accolade follows previous nominations for films such as The Aviator, The Wolf of Wall Street and The Revenant, for which he won the award.
Sports news on Gold FM.
2 scintillating innings from England batsmen mean that Sri Lanka now face the daunting task of scoring 358 runs to win the 3-match one-day international series. An unbeaten 111, littered with strokes of surgical precision by Joe Root, was a sight to behold. If that wasn't enough, English captain Harry Brook butchered the Sri Lankan bowling attack, smashing them to all corners of the ground. His unbeaten knock of 136 came at a strike rate in excess of 200. Dhananjaya De Silva, Jeffrey Van der Sey and Manindu Hasaranga bagged the only 3 wickets to fall in the innings. The hosts' chase is already underway at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, and Sri Lanka were on 11 for no loss a short while ago. That's it for the news. I'm Atik Rumi. Have a great evening.